And welcome back to Sarcastic Remarks. My name is Ryan Chambers, and I just finished setting up all my stuff for the last second. Along with Chris and James, we are the Dallas Stars podcast, the official one of THPN. Please go and use that promo code THPN next time you go and use DraftKings Sportsbook. Thanks to them for being our sponsor of this episode of our podcast and all of THPN. Stars win by a final score of 2-1 tonight, gentlemen, in the shootout. That has not happened very often this season.
3 times to be exact. The Stars actually win 1-1 because shootout goals shouldn't count and they don't go to anybody. So what the heck is happening? It's a ghost goal. Whatever. I'll get off that. Y'all know how I feel about it. Oh my goodness. Put Jake Ottinger on the standings on his own. I mean, just give him the 2 points. We Stars don't need the points. Give it to Jake Ottinger. He should be on the standings by himself. That was fantastic.
Yeah, he was insane. And I didn't even get to watch or listen to the whole game, but I watched the last period and overtime, and that described the entire thing for me.
Yeah, that's all you had to see in tonight's game just to understand like how much of a difference he was in tonight's game. And, you know, regardless of how big of a difference he has been in this whole season for this Dallas Stars team. And I don't want to start off on a negative note because Ottinger, both of y'all at the same time. I hate y'all. Screw y'all. I don't get one.
Kool-Aid jammers.
y'all are such children.
It tastes like cough syrup.
I don't know if this is just me and how I've been feeling, but I don't think the Stars have been playing as well as they have. I just think that they're getting lucky because they're getting some really good individual efforts, mostly out of Jason Robertson and Jake Ottinger. Is that fair to say, or is that not fair to say?
It's not lucky because we're getting great individual efforts by our best players. I mean, that's who wins sports games. Yeah. Any kind of sport. Your best player wins you the game. Yeah. That's what's happening.
So I wouldn't call it lucky, but it definitely is just 2 players playing right now. And they're playing so well that they're able to pull it out all by themselves.
Yeah. I won't say we're playing our best. Definitely we're not. We can definitely play better than that. But it's definitely not lucky. I mean, those 2 guys, Ottinger deserves all the credit there. No luck. That's all Otter.
And it was obvious that he is the biggest. We'll just go ahead and say he's the biggest winner tonight, right?
All across the board.
Yeah, I like
no other biggest winners.
Without a doubt.
I mean, Jason Robertson had the one good shot, and they had the one good shift in the first period. The first line did, which Sagan played very well, by the way. I thought quick highlight of him, and he did very well filling in for Rope Hintz on that top line. So very good for him. But anyways, Robertson had that one opportunity in the first period where he scored, and then he puts the shootout winner away. But it was all Jake Ottinger tonight, and he was by far the better goaltender because he wins.
Yep. Absolutely agree. He was outstanding. And I mean, he's climbing back up the rankings for the Vezina Trophy right now. He's the best goalie on the road for whatever reason. We talked about his swagger that he has, plays with a chip on his shoulder every time he's in an opposing barn. That's our theory, at least. But in all aspects of goaltending, he is climbing back up. He probably dropped down to like 15th those 2 weeks after his injury. But man, since then, he has been the best goalie in the league. By the way, go vote for him for All-Stars. It's a crime that he's not in there.
Yeah. Okay. Not really, because it's not really his fault, because it's either Robertson or Ottinger. You can't put both of them in.
They should have put both. They should have made an exception because Ottinger is that good.
They should have, but that's not following the way that they did it. But I agree. And if he's not an all-star, I will be very upset based off of the way he's played this season. He is a big reason why this team is so successful. Anyways, we are at game 42, so halfway through the season. Very happy with where the Stars are at this point. Hintz is out and Gurianov is in. Gurianov looked decent coming back into tonight's game. And obviously, like we already mentioned, Sagan was centering the top line with Pavelski and Robertson. And the biggest thing that they highlighted before the game was the difference in last year compared to this year when it comes to rush chances. And we haven't really seen a lot of that lately. But especially at the beginning of the season, Stars were 100% taking advantage of those rush opportunities. Last year, they were 30th in the NHL. This year, they're 13th. And you could arguably look at that and say, this is one of the big reasons why the Stars offense has increased this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, That's the most obvious change, and the structure as a whole. Even we're not just dumping it in before. I mean, even before, sometimes we would have like a 3-on-2. We still would just dump it in. I mean,
and that's probably one of the big reasons why we had such a problem trying to score against the Islanders tonight, is because they didn't give us very many rush chances.
Yeah.
We had one and we scored on it.
All right, so getting straight into the first period here, Beauvillier has a backhand chance. Suter gets put on his butt. Poor Suter. He got hit pretty hard. Foxa has a shot that goes out of play. It was the first good chance for the Stars there. And then 4 minutes in, Robertson scores after a beautiful zigzag play by all three forwards on that line, Sagan included. He was the one that started that. And Dallas is up 1-0 early on.
Yep. Great start by Dallas all around. Not even just that play, but looked like our forecheck was going really good in the first part of the first period, at least.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that Sagan does well on that line. I mean,
slide it in pretty easily.
Yeah.
As well as he should. That's what we should expect from him. Him be a number one center without the minutes, maybe, just because Roope Hintz has done so well. Right after the goal, there's a couple shots by Aho and Dobson of the New York Islanders. That's all they were doing. They were shooting from the point tonight. 13-18 remaining. There were two big turnovers by Lundqvist. It would lead to a broken stick by Suter. And then there was an extended D-zone play, which would happen quite a few times in this game tonight, you guys.
Yeah. All pretty much from turnovers when you look back at it.
So after that couple of turnovers by Lundqvist there, Robertson has a shot off the rush after Pavelski makes a brilliant defensive play. And then right after that, 20 seconds afterwards, he has a rebound chance, which he just misses. Anders Lee has a shot on a driving play by New York Islanders, and the shots are 5-2 New York at 11:41. I was listening to some of the commentary from the New York Islanders guys, just because I was curious. They were very shocked that the New York Islanders were out shooting the Stars at that point, because apparently that doesn't happen very often.
No, it never happens with them. If you've seen how they've won games, they just have Sorokin play great and get a couple of goals and then just play defense the whole game.
Yeah, and Sorokin did play great, by the way. You could also tell the Islanders' game plan was to put pucks on the net, and boy, did that not work out.
No, and they couldn't even get it to the net. That was the embarrassing part. Like, their game plan tonight was to shoot as many times as possible, and they didn't even break 30 tonight.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, in the middle of the third period, I was saying it feels like they have 38 shots, and James and Dad said, well, they've had a lot of shots that didn't hit the net. And so it was good defending by the Stars and finished off with great goaltending when we needed it.
So we're at 10:50 in the first period at this point. There's an awkward man huddle. Everybody's falling over each other to Sorokin's right for some reason. Have no idea why. Dallas D at this point is really solid and they're forechecking pretty well. However, they're not spending enough time in the O-zone, and that would continue throughout the game as well. That wouldn't change. A New York Islanders tip goes wide at 8 minutes, and then about 7 seconds after that, Dallas goes to the penalty kill for the first time tonight. Foxa takes a tripping call on Romanov. That would lead to the first goal and the only goal for the Islanders tonight. It's Anders Lee. He scores off of his skate. It was a backdoor play. It was a great pass. It was an absolute great pass. I think Anders Lee would have put it away anyways, but nonetheless, it's 1-1. It's a tie at this point.
Yep. And I mean, that was just for how bad apparently the Islanders power play is. That was a great play.
Yeah, I mean, for the first little part of it, I mean, they couldn't get into the zone. It felt like, at least from what I was listening at this point, it hurt. It sounded like they were struggling still. Just once they got it in, they were able to make that one play, and it worked for them.
Right after that, I wrote down shots are 8-3 New York Islanders at this point. So kind of rough for the Stars, and it's very weird to see them only have 3 shots 15 minutes into the first period. They highlight the fact that Dallas has the fewest regulation losses in the Western Conference, so that's a good thing to talk about. 5 minutes remaining. Dallas is not playing bad, and I wrote it again. They just don't have any ozone time. Gurianov gets hooked by Bailey, but there's no call there. Ben with a tremendous look, nothing there. Mayfield hits the crossbar for the first of 3 times that the New York Islanders would hit the post tonight. At 1:15, a Beauvillier shot gets there after somehow it stays in the Dallas zone. I don't know how it did it.
Didn't.
And then at the end of the first period, the shot attempts were in favor of the New York Islanders, 26-8. 26-8. Now, I know a lot of those did not hit the net, but looking at the shot attempts there, that right there tells me that Dallas did not spend enough time in the offensive zone.
It felt like they didn't spend any, honestly.
Yeah, it was pretty frustrating. I mean, and I was looking at the lineup tonight before the game. It's kind of shocking how much effect losing your first line center has, because you look at it and you're like, oh, we lost like a whole third line. There's not a third line that can score anymore.
Yeah.
So you lose a lot of danger by losing just one guy. He's a pretty important one.
So at the end of the first period, all I wrote was Ottinger was great and we need more ozone time. And I think both of those just continued through the whole game.
Yeah, I think you could just say that in the second and third period too.
All right, going into the second, New York has a shot early. It's Pajot who has the shot, which he had chance after chance in this game. Nelson would miss wide. Essa gets caught out of position, and it's a 2-on-1 for the New York Islanders with 19:08 remaining. Bailey on the doorstep after a bad pass by Miller. That was a really bad pass. 16:51 remaining. At 16 minutes, New York Islanders have a backhand chance for Hudson after bouncing in front. And I just wrote, geez, now the Stars look like they're playing bad. And Otter is basically keeping them in the game at this point.
Yeah, absolutely 100%. And that continued throughout the rest of the game too.
And that was only 4 minutes into the second period. So Hakanpää would make a really good defensive play covering for Essa. It's the second time in the first 5 minutes of the second period Essa would get caught out of position for some different reason. Seguin would have a chance. Finally, they have a good shift, the first line. Not that they didn't have a good shift earlier, but finally we get to see the Stars having an offensive shift in against the Islanders at this point. Again, Pavelski makes a really good defensive play. New York Islanders have a backdoor chance that missed. And then I finally wrote down, it felt like that the energy level was starting to rise for the Stars, and they were at least starting to somewhat match the Islanders at this point. And that was about 14 minutes remaining in the second period. Is that something y'all noticed, or am I just crazy?
Yeah, they for sure had more chances and more shots by the stats, but they started getting going in the second. That was definitely their best period. But Islanders still had some crazy chances that Otter saved.
So Dellandrea gets filled in by Romanoff. The poor dude. The poor guy just can't. He's going to get hit every game. It just depends on who it is. He always gets hit hard.
Yeah.
Sagan has a shot that goes wide. Kiwi has a chance. Dallas will go on the penalty kill. It's Kiwi Ranta who takes the penalty. It's a really, really good penalty kill by the Dallas Stars. This hacked me off. I wrote, great job, Bally Sports. You went to commercial and missed 30 seconds of the penalty kill. Thank you very much. Glendening blocks a Dobson shot during that penalty kill. They kill it off. And then they highlight in between the play that Lindell has a plus 23, and he's second among NHL defensemen. Now, I know we don't like talking about that stat in particular, but it's still noteworthy to say that, Lindell is doing really well defensively.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, especially his penalty killing is what I would say. I mean, we've talked about how good the Stars penalty kill has been this year. He's been a huge part of that. I mean, he plays so much. I think the stat that they showed tonight said that he leads the league in penalty kill time on ice, which is just ridiculous. And we never notice him, and we try to talk about him as much as we can remember to, but he is just a really solid lockdown defensive player. I think he's worth every penny, even though that's debatable for some people. But yeah, I think he's fantastic.
I think the craziest thing is that he plays that much time on the penalty kill, and his plus minus is like one of the best in the entire league. I mean, I think he's second best on our team in plus minus.
Yeah, with the most penalty killing time.
Yeah.
Well, plus minus does not go into account when a goal is scored for the opposing team. Does that make sense? Did y'all know that?
What you're talking about?
So if it's 5-on-4 and we're killing a penalty kill and the Islanders score, it does not count against the plus minus against those players.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
That is true.
You learn something every day.
Yep.
Even more of a useless stat.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. That's why it's a useless stat. Okay. Anyways, 3.5 minutes remaining. Dallas on a 3-on-2 turns into absolutely nothing. and that's been a kind of a consistent thing over the last couple of weeks that they've had opportunities off the rush and they've done nothing with it. Dallas will go on the penalty kill. Pavelski for holding the stick. It's only his 9th minor of the season, so I guess he's out of the Lady Bean conversation, according to Razor. Barzal has a chance, and then New York appears to score, but it was very clearly offside. And I don't know why they waited so long to blow the whistle or something. I don't know.
I think the linesman literally just missed his whistle. I think he was trying to blow it and he couldn't.
The only thing I could think of with Ottinger misplaying that puck is that he knew it was offside, and I guess he assumed they blew the play or something. Or do you think he actually misplayed it?
It looked more to me that Miller knew that it was offsides than anything, because Miller, it looked like he was just kind of gliding around.
My opinion is that we got really lucky with it. I mean, I don't recall a time Ottinger was playing a puck that bad, and technically he still hasn't because it didn't count, but it was very scary when it happened.
Suter would have a shot right off the ensuing faceoff after the non-goal. Dallas will go on the power play with 9 seconds remaining, and that's the end of the second period. It's still 1-1. Dallas met the energy level of the New York Islanders for the most part through that second period, but still not enough to write home about saying they're the better team in this game, because they weren't.
Yeah. I think they played better than them this period, but still overall not better.
So going into the third period, they start the period with the power play. And they've done things in the past where they've started with the power play in the third period, and they've done good things. This is not the case. What was that? Sucky power play. Right after that, 16:42, Pajot gets stoned. And by the way, Otter stoned multiple people in the third period of the New York Islanders. It was ridiculous. Yeah. Pajot's shot was off the rush, and he was alone in front, and Miller was the one who gets caught out of position this time. So, again, Otter just flexing his muscles even more.
Yeah. Otter good. I'll just keep saying that every time he pops.
Otter good. Johnston has a wraparound chance. Sorokin had a really good save there. That was by like a skate blade. Johnston almost got him off. There's a 2-on-1 for New York Islanders, 14 minutes remaining. Holmstrom decides to keep it, takes a shot. He's denied by Ottinger, and that whole 2-on-1 situation was because Hakanpää pinched in the offensive zone and missed the pinch. They hit the post again, New York Islanders do. It's a point shot and somehow finds its way through. Shots are starting to even up. It's 19-17 in favor of the Islanders. They have another 2-on-1, but they do nothing with it. They fritter the chance away. Finally, I get to write something about Dallas having a good shot. Ben has a decent chance after it bounces off the lineman's skate. Glendening with a big hit, and Ottinger with a absolute goal line stand at 9:09, and that easily could have been the game right there. That I guess I could have said that multiple times in the third period, but it was a shot off the boards, and Lee was almost there for the rebound. So Lee making his presence known again in tonight's game as well. That's about it, right? It's just Ottinger continuing to do things. It's amazing that Islanders don't have the lead. Robo has a shot off the faceoff at 5 minutes remaining. Sagan has a wraparound chance. Pajot gets absolutely denied by the combo of Lindell and Otter, and that was the biggest chance, probably the turning point of the game. And then Otter's just freaking ridiculous. He stones Mayfield, and it's like it's a superstar goaltender, elite goaltender kind of play there. With seconds remaining, you're holding your team in with a 1-1 tie, and your team is not playing well, and you're at least going to get your team a point there. So just fantastic play by Otter, especially on that last shot in the third.
Yeah, and it really is the calmness and confidence when he's like this. It's you just know it's not going in every time.
Yeah. I key in on the confidence every time. I mean, you can find big goalies who can move the way that Otter does, but the moxie and the swagger, not every goalie has that.
I've been comparing this lately to how I felt when we had the Lehtinen-Niemi tandem, and it just felt like every single time that the puck was going to go in, like anytime there was a 2-on-1 or a breakaway or something like that, you didn't have that confidence that maybe the goaltender can make the save. And Ottinger is the complete opposite of that. Like, the anxiety that you can get that I got with those two goaltenders is completely opposite compared to Ottinger. So you're right, absolutely 100% right, Chris. Going into overtime, records for the teams: Dallas is 2 for 4. The Islanders are 3-0. So not good record for the Stars, good record for the Islanders. Couple of chances. Dallas has a 2-on-1. SMS is the net. Bouvillier has a slap shot one-timer, and he's denied. Gurianov was denied as well, which that was probably the best opportunity of that overtime period. And then with the last 20 seconds, there's 3 chances. First, it's Dobson for the Islanders, and then it's Robertson and Marchment for the Stars. Stars had the better opportunities in that overtime period, and they just weren't able to take care of it. So thank goodness that we were able to win the shootout there.
Spoilers,
Yeah,
goodness.
Oh, come on. Oh, come on, really? Anyways, in the shootout, I just wrote both goalies have been amazing. For the Stars, it's Robo, Pavs, and Guri in that order. Robo is the one that gets the goal. For the Islanders, it's Barzal, Beauvillier, and Nelson. Otter, of course, with the way he played tonight, stops all 3 of them. Dallas gets the win, 2-1 in the shootout. And the Islanders got goalied in tonight's game.
Yep, 100%. No other way to say it. Stars were outplayed for the majority of the game. They had their chances, and you got to give some credit to Sorokin. He played a good game. Ottinger was out of his mind. He played an all-star worthy game. Go vote for him 10 times a day on NHL.com/vote.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the only reason why Otter was better than Sorokin tonight was because there were a lot more chances on Otter than there were on Sorokin. So
yep,
both goaltenders were absolutely great. Fitting that this one actually ends up going to a shootout, which normally you kind of hate that, but it's whatever.
Yeah, made sense for the story of the game for sure.
Yep, it definitely makes sense that it's Ottinger who is able to take it into his own hands. And of course, the only goal scorer in tonight's game for the Stars, Robertson, is the one that puts it away. So, and those are the 2 guys who we were all worried about that we weren't going to be able to sign this offseason. And for both of them, they are only making a combined less than $12 million, and they have basically won the last 2 games for us.
But this just proves why we were so anxious about signing them. They won this game by themselves.
Just those 2 guys. Yep.
They're probably the 2 most important guys on the team. So, yeah.
Okay, is there anything else we need to say about what happened tonight other than Ottinger stood on his head?
No.
Yeah, there's nothing.
There's nothing else.
The only thing I can think of is that Robertson continues to do his thing, and Seguin looked pretty decent. And I mean, you could technically say that yes, Ottinger was the one who stood on his head and he was the difference maker in the game. But without Seguin on that top line, that at least that goal doesn't happen, right?
Yep, for sure. Agreed.
So we already said our biggest winner. Who's our biggest losers tonight?
Biggest loser. I'm gonna give it to defensemen passing out of their own zones. We could not do it tonight at all. All 6.
Even on the other team, honestly.
The other team too.
They were having a hard time.
All 12. All 12 of them. They're terrible.
I'm just thinking about this just now. I was going to rag on the defensemen for the play tonight because there was a couple of plays where I mentioned, Miller and Lundqvist, and Suter actually had a decent game tonight, I thought. He was okay. Mm-hmm. But I'm just going to say just the general defensive play when it comes to odd man rushes, especially in the 3rd period, was really, really bad. And the fact that this team, the New York Islanders, the only way they win games is by defense and then countering on any mistakes that that other teams make. We are very lucky that they didn't win this game 4-1, 5-1, maybe even 6-1.
Yeah, and that's a good point to make too, because the Stars against the cycle game, so when both teams were set up in the Stars zone, were playing well defensively. They weren't letting shots through. They were clearing out of their own slot. They were tying guys up, but all the chances, all the big saves from Ottinger were all in the rush. So I guess that's credit to the Islanders. And by the way, the Islanders are way better than I thought they were. I mean, if that's not a playoff team, goodness, I'm scared of the East.
Well, I mean, the East is obviously the better conference. I mean, four of the top 5 teams I think are from the East, right? Because I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I think it's even worse than that now, honestly.
well,
Let me check real quick.
I think we're number 4.
We are number 4. Now Vegas is 5th, though.
Okay, so but
Aha.
4 of the top 6 are
4 of
from
the top
East.
6. There you go. And that right there tells you that the Eastern Conference is just a complete juggernaut. It's ridiculous. I mean, Boston has 4 regulation losses halfway through the
Boston
season.
doesn't count, okay? Boston is the outlier in this entire system. Goodness, dude. They're 32-4-4.
That's ridiculous.
What the heck?
It's going to be remarkable if they don't win the Stanley Cup this year. Just side note. Which,
if
by
they-
the... Go ahead, Chris.
If they keep going at this pace, they're gonna have like the best season ever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what that puts them with 68 wins if they follow. Oh my gosh. Jeez. That's like 130 points. Oh my goodness.
For Wednesday night, we gotta find what the best season ever is, because that's insane.
I think it's the year before the Lightning won the cup. I think they had 62 wins that season.
We'll figure it
like
out for
that.
tomorrow. Y'all tune in tomorrow for some number crunching.
Right. Which, all right, one more side note. I don't think that Otter is going to win the Vezina just because of freaking Linus Ullmark. He's playing out of his mind right now. Go look at his stats. I think he's lost once or twice.
Yeah, but he's on the Bruins, so does it really count?
Yes,
Shouldn't-
it does.
Shouldn't count.
It
Nope.
should
Shouldn't
count. It to a certain extent, I think it counts. But okay, anyways, we can talk more about it tomorrow. All right. Anything else we need to mention tonight, guys?
Nope. Oh, yes, Rope is out. He wasn't even on the plane, so he's
duh.
definitely out for the Rangers game. That's not a good sign for him being out for longer, too. So
DeBoer actually said that he didn't think it was a very serious injury, so it's likely it's not going to be for long. But he is not going to be back at all in this road trip. That's for sure. I don't think.
But he for sure has history of being injured and of being hurt and being in and out of games. So we're hopeful it's not something like that.
They also, Twitter thinks they found the hit that he was injured on. And
Yeah, that doesn't tell you anything, though.
Well, to me, it looks like he tried to brace himself with his arm, and it might have been like a wrist thing. I don't know. Whatever.
Ooh, that's
Maybe.
even worse. Okay. We'll talk more tomorrow, you guys. Go out and check out sarcasticmarkshop.com for all the latest merch options. Go and check out.
Toothbrushes, combs,
Nope.
loofahs?
Nope.
Loofah's next.
No,
Loofah's next.
Where did you get
Hairbrushes?
loofahs from? No airbrush. Wait, no, don't. You're not allowed to get in on this too, James.
Where's
This
my
is not fair.
hairbrush?
Don't y'all gang up on me on this. This is stupid. And go and check out sarcasticremarks.com.
Shower head.
I was way too tired the other night to do. Y'all are still talking about it. And I'm trying to wrap it up. Shut up. And I will promise I will do a takeaways blog post tonight and make sure that that's done. Because, I mean, it's only 10 o'clock tonight, so it's not too late. So anyways, along with Chris and James, my name is Ryan. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. And we hope you guys have a good, fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you guys are listening. Christian, since you're here, take us out.
GG Otter. Go see puppy.
Wait, what? Say that one more time.
See puppy.
Goodness gracious. See you
Bark,
guys
bark.
later.